I'm in the show.
I can hear you. Hello.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Hi.
So, this morning I have James from Adventures in Wellbeing, and I thought I would start by saying, why James? In fact, James, you are the first person that I have streamed live into my group.
No way.
I know. I'm very precious about my group.
Oh my goodness. I'm honoured. Thank you.
And there's a few reasons, really. One being that I just think it's nice to represent the men in the world. I don't feel like men and mental health is represented enough, actually. As you know, it's nice to see more and more men out there talking about stuff, but it still feels like there's a lot more women than there are men doing that. And as you're so open and honest, and you are a man, then I thought, great. And I think it helps that you're northern. I think that's why I've got this. I can hear your little
Sorry, you're going to have to just give me 1 minute.
Go, don't worry.
The old Jack Russell has just piped up with what's going on. So
I'm surprised mine's not there, actually, at the door, scratching and crying.
Are you right just to keep me live I might just be a couple of minutes?
Yeah, no rush. You help yourself.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, see you in a bit.
So we will just wait for James to come back. I can edit this actually for the podcast. So say hi if you're there so I can see who's there. Because I know I did say I wouldn't be able to interact, but we will do. Oh, it's Vic. Hi, Vic. He's got a doggy like me that just decides that they want you more than ever when you're doing something. I can see there's more there. Who else is there? Say hello. Say hello. Say good morning. Let me see who's there. Here he is.
Right,
Here he is.
Try again and see how.
Listen,
see how we go.
Listen, do not worry if the dog. You can let the dog in and sit with you. Will it sit with you?
Oh, he's in. Yeah, he's in. He was asleep, and then he gets up and he's like, "Hey, where's everybody?
What are you doing?
Go out now.
Let us see him.
Yeah.
Put him on your knee. Is that him there now? Put him on your knee. Hello. Bless him. Oh, Vic's saying I've got one of those too. Yeah. Well, I know. I was just saying when you're on there, dogs just seem to. Sometimes if I get to a certain time at night and I'm sat at my desk, he sits there and just barks as if to say, "Work's over now. What about me and my time?" So yeah, don't worry about James. Just do what you need to do with him. Is it a boy? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a boy.
And we'll just chat. My group where we are currently streaming live here are well used to interruptions, whether it be children, animals, whatever. So we're very laid back in the group. So as I was saying, so James, a big part of the reason I wanted you to come on is because I think men are underrepresented. And when I see, because I know, and we'll talk about this a bit, but I know that you've had your own ups and downs and struggles, as we all have. And I know now that you've come to a place like I did where you support and help and coach other people, which I think's wonderful. And I still think we need more men to be doing that. So it's nice to see men coming through, bit by bit. Also, as I said, that you're northern. Well, you're from Yorkshire, aren't you? And I just like a Yorkshireman. I'm married to a Yorkshireman.
Cool.
It's from Hull, though. It's not quite.
Family's from Hull.
Is it? It's not quite as cool as Leeds, though, is it? It's not quite as
city of culture. Sorry.
I believe so. It's not from what I've seen. It ain't. Hi, Nicola. I don't know who that is there. Then someone's name isn't showing up. Make sure you click the link at the top, guys, if you're going to share. If you put a comment. James, what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit. So I'm just talking, interacting, because I'll edit it a bit of it for the podcast. So do you want to tell us a bit about you, James, and what, because you're 3 principles based like I am. Just tell us a little bit about you and your background and then where you're at now.
Okay, cool. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure.
It's my first time like being broadcast live as well.
Is it? Like, how does it feel, James? How does it feel to be live to the nation?
It's really funny because like you messaged me last week and said, "Oh, do you fancy doing a podcast?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do that. That sounds like fun." And then this morning, you're like, "Yes, I'm going live on YouTube and in the group and everything." And
I love throwing people in at the deep end, James. Listen, if you'd known that before, you might have overthought it a bit.
Kind of glanced and went, "All right," and then I went, "Oh, right. Well, that's today's new experience kind of taken care of."
Yes,
as well.
Absolutely.
Magic. So yeah, just monitoring the Jack Russell.
Don't worry about the Jack Russell. He's fine.
So for me, so I live in Leeds, over West Yorkshire, as you mentioned, and married 7 years this year as well.
Congratulations.
But been together for about 15 as well. And background wise, I guess in terms of coming into the 3 principles and actually getting the taste and feeling inspired to become a coach and start moving in that direction, it came from this house move. So we're still in the same house. Been here for like 4 years now, but when we first moved in, I had a massive problem with it because the house was on a road, the house was on a main road, and despite the numerous viewings that we'd had, one never noticed it before. And all this house looked like to us was like the perfect house, the final chance to move from a 1-bedroom apartment into a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
We felt like we got it for a really good price. It was everything we wanted for our next step in life as well. And then we moved in, and it's an old house, so it does look a little bit wonky. Let's be honest, it's been around for like over 100 years.
Character, Paul. Got character.
It's got character. It has got character. It's got lots of it. Looked worrying at first, but I got over it. But yeah, the road had never been a problem for all the viewings. And then there was just a moment within the first few days when I was just sat in the kitchen doing some work in the job I was doing at the time. And I just noticed the road noise, the traffic going past. And this was kind of lunchtime. So I put it down to it's lunchtime. It's a road. There's going to be traffic, right? I went out to do work, and I just thought, it's going to quieten down later. Like, these are the rules of the road, yeah? People go to work, they use the road, and then at 5 o'clock, cut off, it's time for bed.
Yeah, nobody uses the road.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they'll just close it off or something, right? So, but then I came home and I started to pick up on it more, and then I found that I was listening out for when is it going to stop? And I guess the state of mind I was in back then, I started for as far as I could see, it wasn't going to stop.
Yeah.
And the more I listened out, of course, the more I heard it. And then this very quickly moved from traffic's a bit loud to I can't sleep. When is it going to stop? Is it going to stop?
Yeah.
It's 3 o'clock. I can still hear stuff. What's going on? And then the morning would come round, and of course the rush hour would start again. And I remember one of the first thoughts that came in after that, after starting to see what was happening, was we've made a really, really bad mistake. And we're mortgaged, we're tied in, we borrowed money to get the house, we've no money to move. We can't get out.
Yeah.
And that just sent me off into a massive tailspin of just not being able to be in the house, but also not wanting to leave the house either. I'm just going to go and move the dog. Give me 2 seconds.
Don't worry.
He just needs a little nudge downstairs. I'll be back.
Dog getting kicked out. I hope you didn't nudge him too hard, James.
I carried him down. He can't see, bless him. So he pretends he can't get down the stairs. But if it's breakfast time in the morning, he's like a rocket.
Yeah. Well, so when it suits him.
Yeah. Very, very much.
So you know, one of the things, James, that I love about your story, because I've heard your story before, I know you've been on podcast before, is that something that seems so simple. And to most people, I mean, I know people that my auntie once lived right underneath the flight path of Manchester Airport, and it was bloody loud. Like when we would go, you couldn't help but hear it. And she never heard it. She'd lived there that long. She just didn't hear these massive, big jumbo jets taking off. Like she'd switched off to it. And yet something so simple that we think that a lot of people can just tune out of, we can get so obsessed with it and so fixated on it that it becomes a massive big deal. Like you said, to the point where you feel trapped in your own home, like you don't want to be there, but you don't feel okay enough to go out. You know, it can escalate quite quickly, can't it?
Yeah, really quickly. And it was the whole feeling that was coming with it that I just, it looked like the traffic was causing me this massive problem, and this is what was making me feel so uncomfortable and really just uncomfortable. Like just a real tightness in the body all of the time, and a head full of thinking, trying to
fix the problem.
Yeah.
Fix the problem that didn't exist, James.
Yeah, I know.
Someone just asked me in the comments, does James follow the 3 principles too? Yes, James is 3 principles based also. I wouldn't have any guests really that weren't, because I think one of the things in my group, James, I'm very keen on is that we obviously keep looking in that right direction. So we tend to be quite, not strict, but stick with the 3 principles. Yeah. So how did you, I suppose, thinking about where you are now then, what's different? Because you're in the same house with the same, I'm assuming they've not shut the road off for you, James.
It is open today, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 22 just went past.
What's different now then?
The difference is I don't notice it, and the difference around that is my thinking around it has changed. And that's it.
Yeah.
The traffic's still the same times every day. But because my thinking's changed, it's almost tuned out, and it's bizarre, but super cool in the same way. Because a house that felt like it was incredibly noisy, like noise ricocheting off all the walls, is now really, really peaceful, really, really just quiet. And all that's changed is the thinking around it. That thinking has settled.
Yeah.
The feeling is no longer there because my little system's been cleared and I've seen it for what it is.
Yeah.
Like, the biggest thing that kept me going was my wife, because she slept through it. It was not a problem.
Yeah. So isn't that interesting? That's an insight for you, isn't it? Where you kind of go, oh, hang on a minute. If this is so bad, how is she sleeping?
Got me really curious all the time through all, you know, the different techniques and therapies and all that kind of thing. I was always like, yeah, But how come she's sleeping and I'm having to do all this work that feels like a lot of work?
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah.
And so then when I heard that moment of, if you're having a scary feeling, it's because you're having scary thinking. And then why would I be afraid of traffic? That makes no sense at all. I then saw it for what it was. And
because in a way, go on. I was just going to say, because in a way you weren't, you were scared of, you were just scared of you didn't like the feeling, did you, that you were getting from your thoughts?
Yeah, it was nothing to do with the traffic. It was the feeling that was attached to the thoughts that were coming through. And it had all started from thoughts. That moment in the kitchen, that now that I'm kind of more grounded in how we work, I can comfortably reflect on and go, that thought that came in that went, traffic's a bit loud, James. That was it. And it was a thought amongst thousands and thousands of other of my experience in that kitchen that was literally just passing through.
Yeah.
There was no power to it. There was no uncomfortable feeling to it. It was just another thought, the same as your laptop's open and you're typing something for work, that just passed through and just went, traffic's a bit loud, James.
Yeah. It's like you went like this, caught onto it, and you were like, before you knew it meant that you'd basically lost thousands and thousands of pounds buying this house that you'd never get back, and you'd have to leave it and abandon it and end up sleeping in a tent somewhere in the field. Yeah. So one of the things, because people, particularly within my group now, some people are really new to the group. Some people have been in a while and so are, have been exploring the 3 principles for a long, long time. And so what sort of comes to mind as we're talking then, one of the questions that comes up a lot and that I am here to reassure, however, I think maybe it might be useful for them to hear the conversation also with somebody else, is when we get caught up in those moments, James, where we think we've gone backwards, we think we're getting somewhere, and then suddenly we're like, shit, I'm back to square one. Oh my God, I've unlearned everything. These moments where we feel like we've gone back. And one of the things I often say is, unless you've got a time machine, you ain't going back. It's like, it's not happening. So I suppose I'm assuming you probably experienced and still do, essentially I still do, where we get caught up in it and we're like, oh no, what's happened? I'm going back. And is that something that you still experience, or is it something that happened for a while and then doesn't happen too much now? Or what's your experience of that been, James?
Yeah, my experience, different life events, it does still come back. In terms of the traffic and road noise, it weirdly came back on Sunday, not here, but elsewhere. It was just
interesting.
It was really interesting. We were walking with brother-in-law's wife, niece, and we were walking along a main road. We were going out on a walk, and there were all these cars going past, and then there were houses on the side of the road, and I just noticed I was feeling a bit uncomfortable. And with the thinking that was coming through, it was just a replay of those houses are a bit close to the road, James. That single pane windows in there, James. How are they going to be sleeping in that? That looks really, really tough. And it wasn't scary. It was still uncomfortable because it was an uncomfortable feeling. Yeah. The biggest thing that has changed for me is knowing what that feeling is telling me. Yeah. And in that particular instance, it was telling me, this is not helpful. This is a replay. nothing to see here.
Yeah.
And it created just a bit of space between me and the experience to just almost be curious about, now that's really interesting. Because the other side of it is, I didn't choose that experience. I had no control over that. That literally, something else just pieced together. You're on a road, there's some cars, there's some houses. Ta-da!
Yeah, look at this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's when we start to really see that those bits. I mean, I've done it before. I've said this before for those in my group that probably see me say this, but I always say it's a bit like, I'm going to do a really shit drawing here, okay? So this is like the dot to dot, right? Oh, hang on. Oh, it's backwards. There we go. So you've got all these dots here, okay? Just random dots. And then what happens is we start to connect them. We start to connect them ourselves. So I'm connecting these dots now. It's very rough, but it starts to kind of look a bit like something, like it could be a person, or it could be. So it's so easy for us. And every single person that had that page of dots would come up with something slightly different. But once we start connecting those dots, the more we want to connect them and the more we want to make sense of them, the more it almost becomes real, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, but there is a person there now. I can see it. And it's like, no, it's just a load of random dots that you've connected. But no, I can see a person. And we really start to believe, yeah, but no, this seems real. This is real. Like, I need to worry about those people in that house and the noise, because I know what's coming next for them, when actually we don't, do we?
No, I need to go and knock on the door and say, hey, get out of there.
Quick, run whilst you still can.
Follow me. Mother-in-law's got a huge house, loads of space.
Yeah, come with us. So
you're absolutely right. And what I find even more powerful is that I didn't create that experience in the first place. Like you say, something else, how we were was just pulling in energy, information, and then just taking form and going, based on what we've seen, we think this might be your experience.
Yeah.
And that took a lot of, that gave me a lot of freedom.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't create that. I didn't choose that. It was just suggested to me, in the same way that if I open my phone in the morning, it'll go, 8 o'clock, Facebook.
Yeah. Have a look at this. Have a look at that. And I think for me, I still get completely caught up in thought, low mood, all the rest of it. I'm a human being. But I think, like you said, the difference is, as time goes on and when people keep in this conversation and keep exploring, is it just gets less scary. And so even though we do get caught up in holding on to it and thinking, what does it mean? I think for me, I don't know about you, James, but for me, that experience just doesn't last anywhere near as long. It just, I realize what I'm doing, and I kind of almost laugh at myself quite a lot. I'm like, oh, you donut, what are you doing? And I think just it takes that scary edge away from it over time. And I think that's what I'm always saying to people: just keep listening, keep exploring. Don't try too hard, and just start to see things differently.
Yeah.
So where can people find you then, James? I've put a little thing on there, Adventures in Wellbeing, but I'll tell everybody, to go and have a follow of James's page. Is it called Adventures in Wellbeing, James?
It is, yeah. Yeah, so if you go onto Facebook, if you type that in, you'll see me. I'll come up on there.
Yeah. Are you on Instagram as well, aren't you?
I certainly am, yeah. So it's the same as Adventures in Wellbeing, but it's got underscores in it. So Adventures_in_Wellbeing. So both those pages at the moment, that's where you'll find me.
Good. And I'm wondering if now you're going to start doing a bit of live videoing now that you've I was just going to say popped your cherry then, James. Your live cherry.
I love how anything can happen on videos.
So you never know, you might see James pop up live now. He might have caught the bug. You know, I love live videos because I think, to me, you show up. I've done them a lot, so I don't feel that sort of anxiety of, oh, get it right, get it. I'm just like, show up, whatever happens, happens. But actually, when you kind of give in to that and go, whatever happens, happens, quite a lot things come to you that if you'd over prepared and planned wouldn't have come to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoy, like, I'm doing Facebook Lives for myself. This is my first kind of like jumping in group broadcast live and stuff. I really like just getting comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Because I can pre-record a video and know that I can always just switch it off and do it again if I need to. But actually, it's more fun just to go live. And it's more fun just to be so comfortable that you can stop talking and say, right, I'm having a moment here.
Yeah.
Let's just see what comes up. Or I might pause while I'm talking to you today, but I've seen something, I want to just take my time while it takes form.
Yeah.
And I think there's more humanness in it, Sarie, when you go live.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
As well.
I would agree. I think it's a bit, I feel like you can just connect more with people and just kind of, like you say, just with whatever shows up. Someone's someone's saying here, I need more dads supporting dads in my group. I think that's when we were talking. This is someone who's in my membership group, but she also runs a group for people with little babies. And I'm assuming then she must have dads in there too. Someone's here, very freeing and powerful not to pre-edit lives. Yeah, because we're human. Yeah, absolutely. So, well, hopefully I've not put you off, James, and that you might come and join us again at some point.
I would love to come and join you again. Yeah.
And as I said that people in my group, go and give James a follow over on his page, and when you see him go live, go and give him a love heart. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, we'll leave it there, and awesome. we'll get James back. But thank you so much for sharing your story. As I say, I've been a bit of a cheerleader for you, James, because I think you're very open, very honest, very humble, and I like that.
Good.
So keep doing you.
I will. Yeah, it's been really good fun this morning. I actually really enjoyed it. And
take care. Now go and sort that bloody dog out.
I will. I'll go and carry him back up the stairs now.
I feel sorry for now. You've told me you can't see.
Only when he doesn't want to see.
Exactly.
There's a metaphor in there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm married to someone like that, but it's not eyes; it's ears. I know. So, okay. Thanks, James. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Love to see you all. Take care. Bye-bye.